Okay, guess it's live now. So how's it going, guys? I just thought I would talk a little bit about this last week that I had, which was on-the-job training or on-the-job instruction. And we're supposed to get so many hours of that, basically a few days, whatever. Um, Basically, mine was um, 2 days of me riding along with the person who I'm covering for, and 1 day of her with me. And then I had 2 days by myself afterwards. So, man, there's a lot I could say about it. So the first day with her, and then the second day with her, basically in the town that I live in, on our route, our case for mail has like two sides. There's like one on the left and one in the center. And then we stop at another little town that only has like one shelf of one case. And so basically, the first day I did like one side in the town, and the other day I did the other side. And that little town that we go to, the clerk who works there, usually an older man, is really nice, and he's sitting there with nothing to do, I guess, and he usually cases the mail for us in that town, so that's pretty nice. So, like I said, one day I did that side, basically. Well, she was doing it too, but whatever. And then the other day I did the other side. And besides that, I rode along with her. She gave me notes, turn by turn directions, and she said, whether a mailbox is vacant or whether somebody has a dog, and I should leave a note instead of delivering the package. I should be cautious at this place, whatever. If usually if the house is on the left and the mailbox is on the right, sometimes maybe the house is kind of down a hill or down a lane or whatever. So she noted that, if I have to deliver a package, so I know where to go. She gave me very good, detailed instructions, and I'm very lucky to have those. And so, I took notes and we talked while we was driving. She told me things I remembered, from the second day. I was like, oh, I remember that house, or I know, where this is, whatever. Um, and we just kind of talked. She just drove and just delivered the mail, basically. Now, everybody has different ways of doing things, and her way is to case the DPS, and the DPS is, I think it stands for delivery point sequence, and that's basically your letters. And they go through a machine, and when you have informed delivery, that's when they get the pictures taken of the mail that's supposed to arrive. It puts everything in delivery order. So you have a tub of you have like a tray of DPS, all these letters, and they're all in delivery order. Your first stop down to your last stop, basically. They're supposed to be, and they're not perfect. And a lot of times you get mail from like another town, another state, or whatever in there, or another address in your town. And so, that's always happened. Just, a letter or two. I noticed that, there's not everything's always perfect. And there are forwards and different things like that you have to learn and remember, and that I need to, figure out more and more as I go. Um, but basically, you have your flats, which are like your magazines, your newspapers, stuff like that. Okay, those are not in order, so we have to case those. So the case has every address in delivery order, basically. The very top left is where you start, and the very bottom right is the end of your route. And so you case things, and then when you pull them down in route order. So you pull down what's at the end first, and you work your way up to the last one, which is your first stop. So your first stop's in front or on top or whatever. So because I stop at that little town, it's like in the middle of my town's route. So I have kind of like a division. I have before the small town and after the small town. So that's kind of nice that I have these ways to divide this up. Um, so so usually we case like we case like after the town first, and then before the town second, and they're like in their own separate things. So the tub mail or the flat mail, the flats have to be cased. Call that like the tub mail or whatever. It's the flats. And then there's the DPS, which is already in order. And then you got your parcels. You got big packages, you got small packages that can fit in the mailbox. So you got packages that'll fit in the mailbox and packages that won't, that have to go to the door or whatever. So you can separate those. Then we have what's called the hot case mail, whatever the clerk had to go through stuff, and it's mail that's not in order also, letters and whatnot. So those have to be cased. So the city carriers, they don't case their DPS. They take it, it's already in order, so they take it with them and they go. The rural carriers, a lot of the older ones especially, seem to case their DPS. They like to have everything cased and ready to go in the morning. So basically you're spending more time in the office before you leave, getting everything in order. And so my carrier and anybody who cases their DPS usually is going to have like a marker for the parcels, whether they're small or big, whatever. They'll have a marker, basically, which is, like a plastic piece, like a plastic strip that's laminated or whatever, just to put in with the mail. So when you get to this address as mail, they might have a letter, they might have a magazine, a flat or whatever. Then you'll have the parcel marker and you'll be like, okay, they've got a package. So I know to look to get their package. So my supervisor very much wanted me to take the DPS to the street, which means to not case my DPS. I would only be casing the flats and the hot mail and whatever else. I would not be casing the DPS. So I would have the DPS in a tub, and I would have my flats and everything that's cased in a tub. And so I'd have to work out of those. And I'd have to come up with another system kind of for the parcels, which I've read online a lot. I've looked at a lot of YouTube videos and other people, and so I figured out a system. But my regular does not like the idea of taking the DPS to the street. And my trainer at Academy didn't like the idea of taking the DPS to the street. So me, at first, I was like, why is my supervisor making me do this that like nobody else wants to do? And, it's like I feel like it's unfair or something, and it's going to be harder on me because I'm going to have to be thinking more, and I'm going to have to be working out of more things as I'm going, as compared to having everything in order, everything ready, and just going to the mailbox and delivering. Well, I think that the reason a lot of people, there's a lot of different reasons why people would do one or the other, and I get it. They can both work. But I think that a lot of the older rural carriers are kind of stuck in their ways too, and that's why the supervisors kind of want to push this. I do think that it's kind of unnecessary to case the DPS because it's already in order, and then you're putting it in and taking it back down again with the other mail. Yes, it's less tubs that you got to work out of. It's less thinking that you have to do like on the road. But, not casing the DPS gets you out of the office faster. And once you get used to it, I think that overall it's probably faster. But who knows? And the regulars who have done it, she knows her case so well, she can case like really fast. And I'm still slow at learning the case. It doesn't take her long in the office at all. But I do think that taking the DPS to the street is going to be better overall after I'm already used to it now. So I found, a guy on YouTube that has a lot of RCA videos. He makes like a parcel sheet. This is basically what the cases are. I said there was one to the left and one in front of me. These are the cases. These are the rows, and these are the streets that are on those rows. And so basically we work from the top left. We go through that first row on the top on the shelf on the case to the left, and then it continues onto the first row on the case in front of me, and then the second row over here, and then the second row over here, and the third row over here, and the third row over here. So if somebody has like a big package that has to go to their door or whatever, that's not like going to fit in a little tub with all the other stuff I'll talk about, I'm going to write the street number for who ordered the package. So they're on whatever street or orders a package, I'll write it on there. Okay, and I make lines to make sure that I know it's on that street. And so if there's multiple packages on one street, I can write it, I can create them on here. So I just continually, I'll look at the sheet and I'll remember, okay, once I get to that street, this is going to be, my first package is going to be on this street. And I'm already getting pretty familiar with having done this all. No, I only had a couple. But yeah, you got the small parcels, which are like the envelopes and the bags and stuff that'll fit in the mailbox. So I put them into tubs. And I have the before my little town stop and after my little town stop, I can separate the small parcels like that. And it depends on how many there are. I mean, if there's a lot going to one street, I can just make a tub for that one street's parcels. So how I have it set up in my vehicle now is that I have how I did it the other day is that I will have like my flats, like my magazines and my newspapers on my right. I have to sit in the middle of the vehicle, which I'll talk about that too. But so I have my flats on my right. I have my DPS on my left. I have my notes and my case, like parcel sheet up on my dash. And I have the small parcels that I can fit in a tub down by my feet. So when I go to a mailbox or whatever, when I'm looking ahead, I'm seeing who's coming up next from the notes or whatever. I'm looking at the DPS. Do they have any letters? I'm looking at the flats. Do they have any magazines? And then I have the tub of parcels down by my feet. And I'm looking, I'm making sure that I know when the next big package is coming. So it's really not a lot to organize. The very first day, yeah, it was crazy. And then like the second day, I was already getting pretty good at it. So I'm excited to go back and do it more, actually, and see how much better I can do. And maybe I'll do worse. Who knows? And sometimes, you got more mail or more packages or whatever. But the 2 days that I did work by myself, I did have the every door direct mail. So I had stuff that had to go to every stop. The second one was supposed to be not going to businesses, only residentials. But basically, it was basically everybody, just a handful of businesses that didn't get it. So the first one was like a county market shopper, like coupons, things that went to everybody. The second day was a local hospital pamphlet or whatever. So I had to go to like every mailbox and deliver one. So on the days when I don't have that stuff, if somebody doesn't have mail, I can drive by their mailbox. If the red flag isn't up, I can keep going. I don't even have to stop. So I could get done faster if I'm going by mailboxes, just checking to see if they have outgoing mail. So outgoing mail is something I always got to look for. I've always got to look for the flag up, make sure, their mail has a stamp on it and all that stuff. And I put it in my vehicle and make a pile of those and rubber band them together or whatever. So, yeah, the first 2 days I rode with her, case a little bit. I learned some things, I watched her route. I couldn't remember, every turn and everything, but I was trying to remember and take in what I could. The first day with her with me, it was stressful. She didn't like the idea of me taking the DPS to the street. Her and the supervisor kind of butting heads over it. But I was like, I'm going to do what the supervisor wants me to. And I've read online a lot that a lot of people like that, taking the DPS to the street. So I've heard from my regular and from my trainer, they didn't like it, but it seems like, a lot of people online like it. It just depends. Some people don't want to do it, but I do think it's better. So she was very against that. She was very kind of against the idea of having a parcel sheet like this. She likes her little markers and her whole system. And this is like a completely different system. But yeah, so it's a 7-hour route. We're supposed to go in at like 8:15 and be done by like 3:15. Now, when I get my evaluated time, if I'm out any longer than 3:15, I won't be getting paid for those extra hours, which happens, especially during Christmas and stuff when the mail volume is high. But a lot of days, once you learn to be good enough, you can get done early. Now, I didn't really see my regular get done early too much on the days that I worked with her. The shadow day, the first shadow day I worked with her was on a Monday. and she was done at like 4:30 or something. So she got like an hour of unpaid work or whatever. The first on the job training day, I think she might have been done at like 2:30 or something, so maybe she got like 30 minutes off early. I thought it was later than that, but I don't know. She said like 2:30. The second on the job training with her, she was done at like 3:30 or something, about on time. So she was never done at like 1 or noon or something, she never, you know, got done that early. But for the first day with her riding with me, it took until 5, like 5:30. So it took a while. Um, and she helped me case things and she helped me with the packages. So, it could have been longer without her help. She helped me a lot knowing where to turn and stuff. Um, I kept asking her questions and she was a lot of help, but at the same time, she was kind of frustrating. That was the first day where we were kind of frustrated with each other, I think. But it happens. She would test me on things because she didn't like, the setup of having to remember the parcels and stuff. And my first day, it was tough. And I was kind of expecting her to help out on reminding me, if a package was coming up or something, but she wouldn't always do that. And she'd be like, "Oh, like I'd pass the mailbox, I'd finish their mail or something, and they'd still need a package." And she's like, "Well, did you forget something?" Like, um, it's like, well, I thought you were gonna kind of help me, but anyway, I guess that was her way of doing it. Sometimes with a stop with a mailbox or something, I wouldn't see it. I'd be catching some speed, and she'd be like, "Are you gonna stop?" Or the mailbox is right there. It's like, well, I wasn't going to. I didn't see it, but it was frustrating the first day with us together. But it wasn't. It wasn't really a nightmare. It could have been a lot worse. There were just little moments where and she didn't like me taking a lot of time at the mailbox because I'd stop at the mailbox and I'm new and I don't know anything and I'm having to look at the DPS and I'm having to look at the flats and this and I'm like, oh my god, you know I wanted to make sure that I got the right mail in and everything. And she's like, you can't take this long at the mailboxes and stuff. I'm like, this is like my first day, give me a break. But what was I gonna say? I don't know, just taking a while at the mailbox. Well, like if we have the flats, like if we have newspapers, or if like there's a day when like everybody gets news, or a lot of people get a newspaper. When you pull down from the case, like the newspaper would be the bottom of their mail because we'll fold the newspaper. So you'd like if we had like a newspaper for somebody, it'd be like the first thing we put in the case. So we fold the newspaper like this, okay, and then you would slide in their letters and stuff in like that. So then when you pull down, the letters are like that. So the newspaper is like the last of their mail. So you see that. So she was telling me, when I'm at the mailbox, she's like, the newspaper is the last of the mail, but I'm looking like at every piece. I'm looking at the address, making sure it's right. I'm looking at the newspaper. I'm looking at the letters. She just wanted me to grab it and put it in. And I'm like, no, I'm going to make sure that I check things. Like that's her way of doing it is because she already cases the DPS and everything. Um, she just grabs and goes basically. And I understand, she's been doing it for a long time. She knows all this, and she's really fast like that. But I'm like, I'm gonna check and try to make sure that what I'm doing is right. So it's gonna take me time just to learn this stuff, but it's okay. So whatever. Um, I don't remember if anything majorly bad happened or anything on that first day when she rode with me. I don't really think so. Then I had 2 more days by myself completely. Now the first day I got done at like 5:30 again. It was about the same time, but I came in earlier at 7:30, so it could have took me longer. But my supervisor said I could come in early those first 2 days. I don't know about the future, but I'm going to be working more this week. I found out already. I already knew I was probably going to be working Friday and Saturday, and I talked to my regular today, and she's like, I was thinking about giving you more time. I'm going to see about your working Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday too. And my supervisor already wants me to come in Monday and Tuesday morning to do packages. So I was like, that's great. I'll get more money. And I know it's not always going to be like that, with her unless I learn other routes and stuff. But eventually, she's going to want to work and get money. She's not going to be having me fill in every day or anything. It's going to get down to like 1 or 2 days a week or something. But the second day, yesterday, I got done at 3:30, so I felt pretty accomplished at that. I, you know, Going from 5:30 to 3:30, I got done in like 2 hours faster. I don't know how it happened. I don't know if there was less mail or less packages or what, but um, I don't know. I don't know what really made that difference, but I know one thing is my driving because I was driving a little slower, cautious a lot, the first couple days, and then I realized like I just need to get up to speed, like whatever the speed limit is, like I need to do it, and so on the gravel roads and stuff, I'm driving kind of slower, but I was going a little faster yesterday. I even made mistakes yesterday and went back. I could have saved even more time. So it'll be interesting what will happen this week if I'll be able to continue to get better times or what's going to happen. I don't know. But I felt pretty good about yesterday. And I mean, both days I had to stop at every mailbox because both days I had that every door direct mail. So I really don't know what saved me 2 hours of time, but I don't know. I don't know. Why did it take me so long? Hmm. But I mean, I do know I was instantly more comfortable the second day. And driving in the middle of the car, I was worried about that. I never practiced that, but really, it was only awkward for a short while. As far as being uncomfortable, I've got it made pretty comfortable now. I don't, I have a armrest like in the center of both seats, and it can lift up, so there's like a gap there. So the first day, I just brought like one couch pillow and I set it between them just to sit on, and it wasn't the most comfortable. And it moved around and stuff. I could still feel the seatbelt, whatever. It would kind of sink in, whatever. So now I have a pillow in the middle to like fluff the open spot in the middle so I won't sink in. And so I have the couch pillow on top of that. And then I have another couch pillow for my backrest. And it's actually pretty comfortable. Yeah, it's uncomfortable when I got to get in and out, but I'm getting more used to it. Just put my leg over the gear shifter first and get in there. It's kind of a tight space, but it's not terrible. The only thing that was maybe more uncomfortable yesterday was I have the small parcels on the seat in front of me where my right foot is, and my right foot was like too much in the way, so it's kind of like I had to like curve my foot or whatever. But and I've got the seat pulled all the way back. I think I don't know if I can get any more space there, but I was able to move it around, and it's really not bad driving in the middle of the car. It's actually kind of fun. It's not. That's really not an issue. And I think a lot of people think starting out, they're like, oh my God, how am I going to drive in the middle of my car or whatever? But I'm taller too. So somebody who's shorter would probably have some more issues. I could see that. But I guess I'm tall enough to where I can do it. It works. So that's not a problem. The roads aren't really bad, but I can see it, over time going fast down those gravel roads and stuff. I can see it, messing up the shocks or the bearings or whatever. I'm not really a vehicle guy, but I'm sure it does. And the brakes are always going to be getting damaged. Um, but we'll see. Hopefully, it's going to work out and my vehicle's not going to get out of commission or I'll be able to repair it in time or whatever. I don't know. I wasn't pulling up very close to the mailboxes again. I was just really cautious about a lot of things the first day. And she's like, you're going to have to get closer to the mailboxes. I'd almost have to like get out of the vehicle, like my whole body out the window sometimes. I'm like, I know, but I'm new. It's my first thing. I don't want to hit the mailboxes. I don't want to get too close. And it kind of took some time for me to make that judgment, how close I can get. The second day, I think I was doing a lot better. I was doing a lot better on a lot of things. I knew that there were some houses ahead. I did forget some things. I had to go back. I missed a couple things or whatever, but for the most part, I'm starting to memorize these roads. I'm starting to memorize where the mailboxes and the houses are already, on my second day alone. So I think, if I'm going to work all week next week, it'll be interesting to see how much I can memorize then. I'd like to get it to where I don't even have to look at her notes anymore, but that might take a while. I'm kind of relying on them. I've also got an app on my phone called Guru Maps, and I did record the route when she drove. So I do look at that too. I use that so I can see to make sure, turns coming up, to make sure that I'm on track. It's helping. I'd like to get to the point where I'm not using that and I'm not using her notes. But they're both helpful right now. Especially, if I would learn another new route, I'd probably want to use that for a new route again. But I'm getting a lot of practice on this one. I don't know if it's really practice anymore. It's like work. It's like I'm doing it. So usually the mail goes out at like 5, I think. So the unfortunate thing was that those times that I got back, the first 2 times, the outgoing mail is already gone. So I think, it's more about beating that than beating my evaluation time. As long as I can get back before the outgoing mail goes out, I think that's probably the best thing. Which I did on yesterday. I beat the outgoing mail yesterday. There is a lot to learn still, a lot to learn, and I've had to call and ask for help on different things, but I'm learning. You learn as you go. It's the way it is with a lot of jobs these days. I thought the training was good, but nothing really prepares you. Me riding along with her didn't prepare for me driving and delivering. It really didn't. It helped with some things. I recognized some things. I took notes. I learned some things, but when I was behind the wheel, it was a completely different experience. It was like, okay, now we're doing this. So first day was rough. Second day, kind of rough. But then the third day, when I was by myself, pretty comfortable. I'd say I'm pretty comfortable now. I'm pretty comfortable delivering, driving. Now, when it starts to get snowy and the road conditions change and everything, who knows what that will be like. But, I even beat the city carriers the other day. They were still out delivering mail. And I was going home and I drove past them and I was like, sweet, I'm going home. So I'm excited to get paid on Friday. The thing that sucks about my travel time for my orientation, we're supposed to get reimbursed for that. Of course, my supervisor said there's some kind of issue, and I'm like in limbo now, and who knows how long that's going to take. That's pretty disappointing. I've heard a lot of people complain about having to wait forever to get their travel time, and there's no excuse for that, really. There's no excuse. It's ridiculous. If you're going to reimburse somebody, then do it. I don't see what any kind of holdup is. I guess it's the government job. I have no idea. I don't care either, but there's no excuse as far as I'm concerned. And it's, maybe not my supervisor's problem, but the post office needs to take care of that. I don't see what the issue is. I drove. They know I did orientation, had all that gas, and, they're just like, well, yeah, we'll reimburse you, but who knows when. And it's like, I'm still, not doing great until Friday. So, but it's good to know that I'm going to get a lot of work this week. So then my next paycheck's already going to be pretty good. But who knows about the future? But, I should be good for at least a month or two. And she said she's going to take like a week off in September. So that should be good. And then we'll be getting into, eventually the holiday season. So I don't know what else to say about all this. I could say a lot more, I'm sure, but I don't know. It's not as easy as what people may think, but at the same time, I don't think it takes long to get used to it. But the first days are rough. But I think from here on out, on my route, I think the days are going to get better already. But who knows? Now city this week, or what her plans are for me tomorrow and Tuesday. I don't know. So I'll update you about that. So I'd like to make more videos and stuff, but right now, the days that I've been working, I've been coming home exhausted, and I'm waiting to get paid so I can take care of some stuff, and then, really my life can kind of start back up. So we'll see. But thanks for your support, everybody, and I'll see you again, and I'll give you more updates. So God bless.